Welcome to Unfiltered Summit Sisters. I'm Gina.
And I'm Julia.
We are two ride-or-die best friends who are paving the path for what true, authentic relationships look like.
We're facing hardships head-on, having real, uncensored conversations, supporting each other's growth, and shining a light on true, raw healing.
We are navigating the world the best we know how,
Having a hell of a time doing it.
laughing every step of the way,
Through the rain
and sunshine.
This is Canyon Culture.
Welcome back to Unfiltered Summit Sisters.
We live here.
Gonna sit and stare at it.
I know we say this all the time. Did you
I
say this
know.
all the time before I moved here?
Yeah. Well, you really helped because I always had mountains in my life. Like even in California, I always had mountains to look at. It wasn't until your first time here. I didn't even know you.
Yeah.
And you were on my back deck. And you just had your coffee and you're just staring and you're just like, gosh, this is amazing. And I'm like, it's a mountain.
I don't think I will ever lose that.
Ever since then, I make sure I take full advantage and full just grasp of not everybody gets this in their life.
I think it's because you came to Texas for a week and we're like, oh,
Right.
got it.
Awful. I mean, sorry. It was just really hot and humid, okay?
All the time.
Okay, so I have something that people will say to me often. People who don't have an experienced divorce or single parenting in their life at all, they have this comment that they make, which is absolutely meant to be a compliment, and I do take it that way. But at the same time, I feel like it gives there's space for a conversation about it. My dad says it the most, but I have heard it from other people where they're just like, I could not do what you're doing. You're so strong. You're so this. Like they have a purpose that they're trying to, like a compliment they're trying to get across.
Right.
And they're using this idea of, I couldn't do what you're doing.
Right.
And my response all the time is only because it hasn't been placed at your feet.
Yes.
Right. Also, like, I don't have another option.
Right. And actually that phrase, it rises up some anger in me.
Why does it rise up anger in you?
Because I had no option. I didn't choose to be this strong. I didn't choose to go through these things. I had no option.
And I will say that, and people go, no, lots of other parents just walk away. And I'm going, but that's going against who I am and my character. So no, I didn't have that option.
Right.
Because me walking away from my children is not an option. Me saying, this is too hard, I'm not doing this, you do it and leave, is not who I am.
Yeah.
So that isn't, like, it's not like in the list of here what you, right? Like, I'm not just going to start doing meth tomorrow. That's not who I am.
Right.
So being like, you're so strong to not do meth, I'm like, well.
It's not hard to not.
Right. So I get why you have anger, but I kind of wanted to spin it. And like what I think we want to discuss today is just more of, we are all made up of so much more than we think we are.
Absolutely. You have no idea the power and the strength that's inside of you.
Right. And when we have trials put in front of us, and I think that's why God puts trials in front of us, because he's going to go, watch what you're capable of. Watch what you and I are capable of, because you and I couldn't have gone through this without him.
So I think it's that idea of there's so much more in you than you actually realize.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes from our faith and our relationship with God, and absolutely we couldn't do any of this without him. But he puts in us so much more than we're aware of. And the trials he puts in our lives really bring it out in us.
Yeah, they absolutely do. I will say one thing that has been really impactful in this area of my life has been my training.
Like your weight training?
Yes, my weight training, because for a long time, I was part of a gym back in Katy, Texas with the most amazing coach ever. Shout out Coach Michelle. And these workouts that we would do were really intense, and they would push me to where I would look up at her and be like, I have nothing left. I can't. And she would be
Tank empty.
She'd look at me and be like, you do,
push.
Get up, push, keep moving.
Yeah.
And after doing that for years and years and years, it taught me that when I feel like there's nothing left, when I feel like I'm done, when I feel like I'm empty, there's still more.
It's when you dig deep.
Yes.
I have the same experience with my coach, only it was way less intense. Like it was at the very beginning, and I had like my kettlebells and my dumbbells, and the difference between what I was using with what my max kettlebell was. She was like, use that instead. I'm like, that one's heavy. And she goes, your legs are so much stronger than you think. Just go try it. And I did. And I was like, look at you, girl. Good job, legs. So same.
All the time in my workouts, I'm like, oh my gosh, you were right again, coach. Weird.
But I think that is a character thing too, right? Like there's so many things that I look at going, I could never do that. And I only know that, I only think that because I haven't had to.
Mhm.
But I guarantee that if God puts it in front of me, I can.
Right. It's there's a lot of grit to it. And we've developed that. Oh my God, saved my life.
Got you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't even
It is a
wanna-
buggy day today.
It is a buggy day.
Which is fine because it's not crazy hot. So I'll take it. Sorry, continue.
Yes, yeah. But it's that grit that we've developed over time.
So, well, other than your training, where else do you feel like you get that strength from?
I think through the different trials that I have been through in my life. One that I think of in particular is I lost a baby at 3 months pregnant. And that was a huge pivotal moment in my life because as I walked through that and went to some really, really dark places, that solidified my relationship with God in a way that my relationship with Him can never be shaken. And I needed to walk through that experience to get to that place with God. And now I can look back at things I'm going through now and go, you've been through harder. You've been through so much harder. You can do this.
It's interesting how what I've noticed is there's certain lessons that God will put me through because they prep me for more issues.
Yes.
So for instance, when I was married, we had a lot of financial trials and a lot of financial troubles. And so I had to lean on my faith and I had to work with God a lot on that then. And it's making it so now I have financial struggles and trials as a single mom, and they don't feel as heavy. If I had to go from being completely financially stable to what I'm having to do now, I feel like that might break me. But instead I'm going, no, we've done this before. I've built that faith, that same idea. We've done this already. We've built that. Those bricks have already been laid in that foundation, my financial bricks that I know you've got me. So don't get me wrong. There's still times I'm going, what the hell?
For sure.
Right. But at the same time, like those are human emotions. And at the end of the day, I'm going, no, we got this. I trust you. We got this. You've already proven that you have me.
Yes.
So I just have to make sure I'm doing what I need to do and I'm working the way that I need to work so that you can show up.
Yes.
But it's that idea of we're building a foundation with God. And so if He's putting more in front of us, we know we can handle it because He's built that. But I love the idea of looking back going, this lesson and this lesson and this lesson have built me up to a space to handle these trials that I'm going through now.
Absolutely. And then that realizing that power and strength that's in you. And I still don't think that we realize how much is in us, how far we've come.
We're
and
only
grown.
25. We have so many more years of trials to go.
We do. We're really young. In turn, just grows us into like these beautiful human beings, right? Because 10 years ago, I never would have done a podcast. I didn't have the confidence to, I didn't have it in me to do a podcast. Now, that's not true. I did have it in me, but because of where I was at in life and because I hadn't developed that grit and learned that there is so much more in me, I wasn't in a place to realize that. Yes. And now I'm going, let's go. I've got stuff to say. I've got stuff to share. God has put me in this place, in this season for a reason.
Yep.
There's more. I have more to share.
It's on one hand, it gives me a lot of strength. And on the other hand, I'm really nervous because there's a lot more life to live. And I'm going, oh my gosh, what is He going to put me through? What other things are going to have to do? But at the same time, I look back and even like, I take the compliments of I couldn't do what you're doing. Obviously what I'm doing, people can see how hard it is and they see how difficult it is and they see the grit. They see the effort I put in. They see the victories that we have, right? Like there's a lot of times too where people go like, you're doing a really good job with your boys. And most of the time I'm going, they came good. I didn't do this. But I do sit back and I'm going like, no, I do things that are helping them build a foundation. I am having a Christ-centered home, taking them to church, but then teaching them how to be good men, stuff like that. Like I do have a part. And I guess that's a hard part for me is understanding that there's a lot in me to provide a lot. Makes me feel, what's the word? I'm really self-conscious. I don't want to ever look haughty or boastful, but I'm learning to give myself credit where credit's due.
Yes.
And that's a hard balance for me because I'm either the worst person ever and I'm so sorry, or you're so welcome that I'm in your life and the most shiny star you've ever seen. Like there's really not an in-between, which is where I should be. There's either too much humility where to a fault or not any at all.
We're working on that.
But there is, like, that's the thing is like just this idea of a lot of times when trials are put in front of me, I do sit there and go to God and be like, I can't handle this. And he's going, I know, that's what I'm here for. And then we get through it.
Right.
Because he doesn't put trials, like there's that saying that people say, God doesn't put anything you can't handle in front of you.
Oh my God, I hate that. People misquote a Bible verse all the time.
Yes.
God will never give you more than you can handle. That is not what it says. Please, dear Jesus, stop saying it. It drives me nuts. That is not true.
So tell us, what is the accurate message?
This life is going to give you more shit than you can handle.
That's the purpose.
A lot.
Yeah.
The only way that you're going to be able to handle it and get through it is with God.
Yeah.
You can't handle it on your own. Good luck trying.
Because, okay, for instance, a lot of times for me, I will be going through a hard time and I lean on him. And then I go through a good time and I'm less likely to go talk to him. And so for him, he's going, remember me?
Right.
Remember me? And not that he's putting us through trials so that we remember him, but we just remember to go to him more because we need him more during those times. But through that relationship builds more of that foundation, which makes us be better people. But yeah, I think that he does put us through trials that we cannot handle on our own, but that is what Christ is for. That is what he is for, because we lean on him and then he goes, watch what we can do together.
Right.
I think there's a poem or a saying that just talks about, this human is talking to God saying, you said you'd never leave my side. Look at this path we've walked on the beach. There's only one set of footprints. And he's like, that's when I carried you. And I'm like, so when am I going to walk? So I feel like you've been carrying me for a long time. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying.
Right.
It's been one set of footprints for a real long time. I'm so sorry about that. I'm working on it. But I always appreciate the compliment, people understanding that this life as single parents is hard. I always do appreciate that. But I also don't want people to think that I'm here and I'm something. I am special and I am awesome. But I also everybody's got it in them to do really hard things.
Right. It's that meme of being married is hard, being divorced is hard. Being a parent is hard. Not being a parent is hard.
Life's hard. Pick your heart.
It's all hard. Yeah.
I love that saying. Life's hard. Pick your heart.
It's all hard. And I definitely have moments and seasons where I'm like, I don't want to be strong anymore. I'm tired.
Well, you say all the time, you're like, I'm tired of people telling me I'm a badass. I don't want to be a badass anymore. And I totally get that.
I'm tired.
I'm
At the
so
same,
tired.
on the same, I guess on the other hand, though, looking back, I wouldn't be the woman I am today without the things that I've walked through. And what God and I have accomplished and how far we've come is amazing. And I am incredibly proud of the woman that I am. I think I'm freaking awesome and amazing. At the same time, I never would have done it without him.
For sure. And I think that's the whole point of trials, is because we get better.
Right.
The trials make us better. It pushes us to do hard things. It pushes us to come out of our comfort zones and try things that we wouldn't try before, or to become single moms when that's not the plan.
Right.
And through that came healing and growth. And yeah, if we're not, I guess that's the thing, is if a trial isn't going to better you, then you're doing it wrong.
Right.
And maybe that's a really not good quote. I'm going to own it though. Quote by Gina. If you're going through a trial and you're not looking at to see how it's making you better, then you're probably doing it wrong. So that's how I look at it, because I feel the same way. I look at the past and I'm going, that was really hard, but look what I learned.
Yes.
And so as I'm going through the hard, going, this is freaking hard, I do sit down and go, what am I supposed to learn? I talk to God. What do you want me to learn from this trial? If you aren't sending me my partner and I'm having to continue to do this, because having my kids be gone for 6 weeks with their dad is really freaking hard. And I know having a partner would make it significantly easier.
Right.
I know that being a single parent and having a partner to help me make life decisions would make it significantly easier. And if God's choosing to not have that person be in my life, there's a reason for that. And I need to trust it. And I need to see what I need to do to better myself and what I need to do at this time to learn, so that when he does come, I am the right version of me that I need to go into a relationship. So I don't have another failed one. Not failed one. That sounds so awful.
I know what you mean though. I get what you mean by that. And I think that people say everything happens for a reason, and I disagree.
Okay.
I don't think everything happens for a reason, but I do think that there can be good found in everything.
Well, because people have their free agency. God can't control us. That's why, we're here to be tested. That was Satan's plan, is to have us all go back to heaven, and we don't get to pick. We're here to prove our worth and to prove that we are good people. And with that comes things that happen to us that God's not going, let's make sure that happens to her. He goes, that's going to happen, and I'm going to offer a way for good to come from it.
Right.
So I don't think he's up there planning molestations and rapes.
Right.
I think he knows they're going to happen because it is a broken world full of broken people.
Mhm.
But he's going to be like, this is going to be awful and hard, but if you choose, there you will find good in it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it'll be worth it. Sometimes it may not be worth it, depending on your perspective.
Right.
But there will be good if you seek it out.
Mm.
And I think that that's a lesson I'm really grateful that I've had for a while.
I like what you touched on, saying that it may not be worth it, but there is good, because it makes me think back to when I lost Josiah at 3 months pregnant.
Yeah.
I can't look back and say that was worth it. I
Yeah.
can't. As much healing and growing as I've done, I can't look back and say that's worth it. But I can say I see good in it.
Yeah.
My relationship with God wouldn't be as strong as it is, as firm as it is, without walking through that. The amount of women that I have been able to talk to, bless you.
I'm so sorry.
That's how you know you really know someone, by the way. I'm like, wait till the third time. She sneezes in 3. Don't say sorry before that. You got to wait till the third sneeze.
Give her the third one then.
Anyway, I can't look back on losing him and say that it was worth it, but I can see so much good that came from it.
Yeah.
The amount of women that have come to me and talked to me about losing babies and miscarriages and look to me for support or prayer or just companionship, has been, God has used that for good.
Yeah. Where he can control, I feel like that's where the good comes.
Mm-hmm.
And you laying in bed with me while I lost my baby.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? Only 3 months after you lost Josiah?
Mm-hmm.
Was it August?
August was when I lost Josiah. And I think it
Mine
may
was
have
in September.
been, a month.
So weeks apart.
Right. Right. But I wouldn't have been able to be as compassionate as I was.
Empathetic,
and
are you kidding me?
So deeply with you had I not gone through that experience. Right. Was it worth it? Probably not. I can't say that it was worth it, but I do see good in it.
There's so much good in having you there for that, and what a God moment for our relationship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? If you don't know the story, so Julia lost Josiah after 3 months in August.
Mm-hmm.
In September, she came out to Utah for doTERRA convention, and
the one time a year that I came.
The one time a year you come, and we were decently close at that point, but not like we are now, obviously.
Right.
And I was miscarrying, and I was on the tail at what I thought was the tail end. And
which was really just the beginning.
It was just the beginning. So we're at convention. I just started gushing blood.
Yeah.
And I started crying, and I was really upset. And you came home with me, and my ex was not kind about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you literally were in bed with me with our 2 youngest.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember like sitting in the bathroom while I was bleeding, and you were just like, do you want me in there? Where do you I just remember you coaching me through it. Like, what would give you the most peace? And you made me laugh, mm-hmm. and you let me hold your baby while, and I don't know, it was just like I think that was such a pivotal moment for our relationship.
And on my end, I don't feel like I did a lot, but I was there. I was present. I was there. Okay, I sat with you.
Do you remember your ex?
I do.
How often was he there for you? Neither of us know what that felt like. So for me to have...
1, 2, nope, take that finger back.
Never. Right. So to go from a relationship where there wasn't that kind of support, and then to have it with unconditional love and the empathy that you have, I felt like was such an amazing moment for our relationship.
For sure. But I'm just saying, for me, it didn't feel like work. Like, I didn't feel like I was like, I need to do this and I need to take care of her this way. And I just sat with you. I sat in the moments of laughing. I sat in the moments of crying. And I just sat in it.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah. It's not that, because like us both losing babies isn't our favorite. No. We're not picking that, but what a beautiful moment we still got to have. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where it is. I think that's the idea with God, where he's like, I can make good out of anything.
Yes.
If you choose to see it that way.
Yes.
But that's a perspective you have to pick.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we are single parents, technically by choice, but also not by choice.
Right.
Like when you see the light, you got to be like, oh, we should leave.
Did you want to be hit while you parented, or is that too far? Should I not say that on the podcast?
Should you go to drywall school? Is there a thing called drywall school? Go be an apprentice so you can patch all your own holes perfectly.
Or
okay, we're getting dark. We should probably wrap it up before it gets too bad. I am so grateful that I have that perspective and the understanding of this is hard, but I know there's good here somewhere. Sometimes it makes it easier to get through it. Sometimes it doesn't, but I always know I'm going to walk away at some point going, here's the good that came from this hard trial. And I, like you said before, I am so unbelievably grateful for the woman that I am right now. And I could not be this amazing without every single trial I've been through.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm grateful for that.
I'm grateful that in my moments and seasons of feeling overwhelmed, of feeling like I don't want to be strong anymore, I'm too tired, I don't want to do this, that my people give me the space to feel those things without letting me get too dark, without letting me set up camp in dark places, and go at the appropriate time, reminding me that you can do this. We are going to get through this. Right now may be a time to not do anything.
Yeah.
And just breathe. So I'm thankful for my circle, knowing exactly how to support me and when to let me feel things and when to call me out of the dirty river.
Beautiful. Okay, well, hopefully some of this helps.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's some nuggets in there for people.
Helped us.
Okay, we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Unfiltered Summit Sisters.
Come join us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to get a sneak peek into our lives.
It's beautiful, chaotic, crazy, and fun.
What else would you expect raising 10 kids?
All the links you need are in the show notes.
See you next week.